Hello, everyone. Today is Monday, March the 9th, 2026, and you have joined Ask a Care Navigator, Mondays with Maureen. Hello there. I'm Maureen Williams, and I'm the Director of Care Navigation here at Four Seasons, the care you trust. And we try to create this space on most Mondays to talk about issues associated with living well and aging well, and perhaps how Four Seasons may be of service. If you want more information, please call us at 866-466-9734 or go to our webpage, which is fourseasonscare.org. Please spell out the number 4, fourseasonscare.org. There's lots of information on our website, and there's a way to send us inquiries and questions. And we're happy to talk with you and respond to you. I'm also delighted to share that Four Seasons is so grateful to the Van Winkle Law Firm for serving as the title sponsor for this program, Ask a Care Navigator, Mondays with Maureen. And in fact, my special guest last week was Heather Goldstein from the Van Winkle Law Firm. That was a rich session. Feel free to check that out. The Van Winkle Law Firm is one of the most respected and well-established law firms in North Carolina, providing exceptional legal representation to individuals, families, and businesses in personal, commercial, business, and estate planning matters. And I particularly interface with the Van Winkle Law Firm regarding the latter topic. Should you want more information or to schedule a consultation, please go to the website, which is www.vwlawfirm.com, and someone will be happy to assist you as well. Well, today I thought I would talk about the topic of depression or dementia. And that's because I'm running into this question, these concerns, these distinctions a good bit lately in my personal and my professional life. So let's just have a conversation out there. Let me just share with you some thoughts about, and some, not just thoughts, but facts about depression and dementia, what's similar and what's different about the two. While we age, we all might experience changes such as hearing loss or arthritis. And when we experience those things, we talk to our physicians or our primary care providers. These are common conditions that may be associated with aging, and we'll talk to our doctors about them and get treatment for them. But for some reason, if we're experiencing symptoms of depression or dementia, we don't do that. Why don't we treat those mental health conditions the same way? The most common mental health conditions that are facing older adults are depression and dementia. In fact, 1 in 5 older adults in the United States over the age of 60 suffers from some symptoms of depression. And according to the World Health Organization, nearly 50 million people worldwide are living with dementia. That's huge. But there's confusion around the symptoms associated with depression and stigma around that, particularly over depression symptoms that exist. That stigma still persists. So unfortunately, instead of talking to our families or our physicians, there's a fear and we keep quiet about these symptoms. And that stigma is still very strong. But you need to know that help is available. Help is available for depression. Help is available for dementia. And so it's important to learn the signs and symptoms of depression and dementia so that you can see what you can do if a loved one is living with these symptoms or suffering from it or one of these conditions, because there is help available out there. Well, let's start with depression. Many myths persist about depression, including the assumption that depression is a normal part of aging. And I'm here to tell you right now, most older adults are happy and healthy. Depression is not a normal part of aging. Hear that very clearly. Depression is not a normal part of aging. Often losses can cause depression, loss of health, deaths and losses of loved ones, for example. But for some people, it might be genetic or recurring. Many older adults have been living with depression much, if not most, of their lives, untreated, unfortunately. For many adults, oftentimes the first discussion of depressive symptoms is with their primary care providers. And the good news is that if these symptoms are present and someone's willing to share that, there's help out there. They can be referred for help. Treatment works for depression. Treatment really works. I was with a client within the last 6 months at a geriatric psychiatrist who said in the toolkit there are hundreds of tools. It just takes a while to find the right medical tool to help people with their depressive symptoms, but treatment works. And usually people are referred for counseling, support groups, and or medications. Sometimes all combination of all three works. Now, here are the symptoms of depression you might notice in your aging loved one, or yourselves for that matter. Feeling sad or blue, a loss of motivation and interest, sleep disturbances, too much sleep or too little sleep, confusion and memory issues. Remember that one. Difficulty concentrating, low energy, or suicidal ideation. I don't want to burden my family. I'll just suffer by myself, or I'll take care of it another way. If you or a loved one are experiencing any of those symptoms, for yourselves, please talk with your healthcare providers about that. And if this is something you're noticing a loved one experiencing, have a kind and caring and loving conversation. I'll come back to that. Now for the symptoms of dementia. You need to know, first of all, out of the gate, dementia and Alzheimer's are not the same thing. In fact, Alzheimer's is one type of dementia, the most common one, but it's just a type of dementia. There are many other types of dementia. And what is dementia? It's a group of symptoms that can include changes in mood, personality, and behavior. It also includes a severe loss of intellectual functioning. That's the scary part. And that severe loss of intellectual functioning interferes with a person's ability to perform daily activities such as working or driving or preparing a meal. That's dementia. Now, like depression, dementia is not a normal part of aging. I'm going to say that again. Dementia is not a normal part of aging, but age is the most common risk factor for dementia. Plus, dementia and depression share some of the same symptoms, and this can often cause confusion in diagnosing dementia instead of depression. A person with dementia can experience confusion. Depression and dementia can experience confusion, difficulty concentrating, and memory loss. And unfortunately, if that's in the context of depression, it can be misdiagnosed as dementia. I've seen it happen. That's why it's really important to have a professional conduct a comprehensive, a very thorough assessment for dementia that also includes ruling out other medical conditions like depression. And I've seen that done many times here with those who are experts in memory care. There's no known cure for dementia, but medications may slow the progression. And it's important to know that support groups and counseling can help caregivers remain healthy and able to provide care for their loved one living with dementia. I say that you want to be in it for the long haul, and they do. So here are the symptoms of dementia. Let me get that right. This is symptoms of dementia. Changes in personality. There might be agitation, suspiciousness, or paranoia, or aggressiveness. Hallucinations or delusions, false beliefs. I see that. Confusion. That can happen with depression as well. The inability to retain information. difficulty making sense of one's surroundings, loss of common sense. This is a pen. It is not a key to start a car. See the difference? Sleep disturbances, too much sleep or too little sleep, much like depression, and trouble with performing normal activities. Well, here's how you want to help your loved ones if you're noticing symptoms of depression or symptoms of dementia. First of all, be kind. Have an honest, caring, and loving conversation, not accusatory. Do not accuse your loved one of saying, well, you're forgetting things all the time, or you just don't care about us. Be careful with that one. Be careful. Have a loving, honest, and kind and caring conversation. I'm going to pop up the symptoms here right now for you. Okay? Let's get that right. These are the symptoms. So just have that loving, kind, and honest conversation. You need to understand that your parents or your older loved ones have lived lives of independence. They're accustomed to this. They're not accustomed to these symptoms that you're seeing here on your screen, particularly if they're symptoms of dementia. Try to put yourselves in your loved one's place. How would you feel? And let me encourage all of you, whether you're noticing this happening to yourselves or someone you love, please do not wait until a crisis hits to take action. If you're noticing these changes now, talk to your healthcare professionals, talk to those you trust, talk to your loved ones. Be aware of these symptoms and have an open, honest conversation with your loved one. It really will make a difference. And you need to know this, that it's possible to treat and or manage these two mental health conditions. We can treat and keep under treatment depression. We can't cure dementia, but we can help manage it. Don't give up on yourselves or your loved ones, okay? Most older adults are vibrant and want to live vibrant lives. Okay. Well, I hope this has been helpful for you to some degree, because there is help out there. There's help to be had. Let me stop sharing the screen. There we go. There's help to be had for both depression and dementia. One can be managed and almost cured, if I would dare say that. Dementia cannot be cured, but it can be managed. And in fact, people can live well into the disease now with the medications that we have to help slow the progression of dementia. Well, I hope this was helpful for you to differentiate the two and to maybe come up with a game plan. It starts with that open, honest conversation with yourselves, perhaps, with your healthcare providers, and with your loved ones. Well, I'm thrilled to tell you that next week, on Monday, March the 16th, Lucas Mumal from the Van Winkle Law Firm will be with us to speak with us about Medicaid and elder law. That's a topic I get lots of questions about too, and I know when to direct them to the attorneys, believe me. So join us next Monday, March the 16th, for another special guest from the Van Winkle Law Firm to talk to us about Medicaid and elder law. And if you have any questions or comments about anything associated with Four Seasons, please call us at 866-466-9734 or go to our website, which is fourseasonscare.org. Thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you soon. Take care.